Did you know that Facebook pays anyone who finds errors on the site or app? And did you know that a 5 megabits HD once weighed 1 ton? And did you know that a simple password protected the world from nuclear war for 20 years? So get ready, that's it and much more that we'll see today. Discover today 10 interesting facts about technology and the internet. The world's first photo took 8 hours to capture. When we see users today commenting on the fact that a certain camera on a smartphone takes a few seconds before shooting, we are already a little bored. However, when the first camera appeared, things took much longer, and the results were much simpler than one might imagine. The first photograph in history dates back to 1826 and was taken in the Lougre region of France. It was officially taken by Joseph Nice-Niepce. To carry it out, he covered a tin plate with bitumen and placed it in front of a window for 8 hours. When the time was up, the image was engraved on the sheet. This is the first photo with people. The image was taken in Paris, in the year 1838. But as the time of the photos was very extensive, the only people that appeared in the photo were those who were standing still, the man polishing his shoe and the polisher. This one was taken in 1839 in Philadelphia, a Central High School exhibit, and it took 10 minutes. This is the first photo of the moon, taken in 1840. It is considered the first photo in the history of astrophotography. It took 20 minutes to take and was done with the help of a 13-inch reflecting telescope. What came first? Email or the internet? It may seem counterintuitive, but email was created before the internet even existed. Of course, in the beginning it didn't work the same way as it does today, but the principle of sending electronic messages predates the World Wide Web. The first email system was called Mailbox and could only be used on computers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. The rudimentary system worked on a single machine. One user left a message for another. This second user needed to log into the machine to access the message left. That was in 1965, and the precursor to the Internet, the so-called ARPANET, was implemented by the U.S. Department of Defense only in 1969. The front page of the Internet is still online. On August 6, 1991, British scientist Tim Berners-Lee published the first page in the history of the Internet. The coolest thing is that it remains in the air until today, intact, and you can access it through the link in the description. Of course, as you can imagine, it's pretty simple and just text messaging. The texts in question were a kind of summary, with links to other pages that were being built a few years ago. The website is hosted by CERN, European Organization for Nuclear Research. These static documents form the beginning of the Internet, something very different from what we have today, isn't it? A simple password protected the world from nuclear war for 20 years. Nowadays, we all have a constant concern about the security of our online information. Because of this, non-obvious passwords and several layers of protection are always recommended for those who want to keep their data under lock and key. However, for 20 years the U.S. nuclear missile launch system was protected by a rudimentary password. The code to enable the nuclear warheads was just a numerical sequence with 8 zeros. Even worse, the password was written down on a paper note, kept among the American documents. Nowadays, such a security policy would be unthinkable.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
The word robot refers to forced labor. Slavery no longer exists today, at least in theory, but those who compulsorily develop some activities for us are robots. However, have you ever stopped to think about the origin of this term? Its first use was in the play Rossum's Universal Robots, written by the Czech journalist and philosopher Karel Čapek in 1920. The term used by him to describe mass workers, without soul or feelings, was roboti. According to historians, the work is a critique of the servitude system that prevailed in Central Europe, with workers paying their rent with forced labor. Curious to think of an origin like that, don't you think? Mozilla Firefox's mascot is not a fox. Actually, the name really is Fox, but that doesn't mean that the navigator's name was inspired by the animal. In fact, it is a red panda, a mammal with red fur all over its body. However, the designer who made the logo did not use references to the real animal, which helped to create confusion between species. Tech companies test various products in New Zealand. Some application software developers often test products and services in New Zealand. That's because the country's inhabitants have a lifestyle that is close to Western countries, in addition to speaking English and being isolated enough to avoid escapes. Companies like Yahoo, Facebook, and Microsoft, for example, have already carried out tests in the country. Using cell phones in your pocket has developed a phantom vibration syndrome. According to the researcher in the field of technology, the habit of keeping the cell phone made people start to perceive it as an extension of the body. In this way, muscle spasms or clothing movements, for example, can be perceived as the vibration of the device. This happens even in cases where the cell phone is not in the pocket. Facebook pays anyone who finds errors on the site or app. This is one of the curiosities about technology for those who want to profit. If a user discovers vulnerability issues in Facebook's systems, they may receive a gratuity from the company. Prices start at $500 and can be increased depending on the risk and impact of the failure. However, it also has to fulfill some agreements, such as not exploiting the discovered flaw. In addition to Facebook itself, other company services are also intertwined in politics, including WhatsApp and Instagram. In 1956, a 5 megabytes HDD weighed a ton. The first computer to have a hard disk, or HD, similar to the current ones was launched in 1956. At the time, the IBM machine presented a great innovation in storage technology, with a disk of capacity of 5 megabytes. The equipment weighed over a ton and could be rented for $3,200 a month. And that's it for today. If you liked the video, I ask you to leave your like so that we can bring you better and better videos. Also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Leave in the comments what you think and if you want us to do a second part. Also tell us if you have any suggestions for future videos. If you like the video, take the opportunity to access our channel and watch all our videos. That's all folks, see ya!